What is going on, everybody? We got the man himself, Riley Burbach, in the building today. We're going to be talking a little bit about Lincoln Riley going to USC and leaving Oklahoma. We're going to be talking about who we think Oklahoma will uh, sign as their new coach now that Lincoln Riley's out of town. We'll also speak upon Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU. Notre Dame has found their new coach in Marcus Freeman, their defensive coordinator from this season. And we will also preview the SEC championship game with Alabama superfan Jake Mueller. We also might sprinkle in a little NFL in there, AFC North, baby. Jamar, turn up. But Burbach, how you doing tonight, man? How we feeling?
Pretty good. I didn't know Jake was an Alabama super.
Well, he's a fan of Alabama, but he claims he's a super fan, so we're gonna call him by what he says.
He's a super fan, like you're an Ohio State super fan.
Oh, here we go, Burbach. Burbach, why you gotta bring this on, man? Why you gotta bring this on, man? I don't know. But Burbach, let's jump right into this thing, man. Lincoln Riley to USC. Instant reaction. Your thoughts on the move?
I mean, you're. I understand why he moved because more recruits come from California. 5-star recruits come from California than any other state, and they're right in your backyard. But you're already at a built Division 1 program with a recruiting class next year. I just think it was kind of, I don't know, cowardly to leave Oklahoma. People are slandering Brian Kelly like Lincoln Riley's was like the necessarily better move, or like, I don't know, like Brian Kelly's move was worse than Lincoln Riley. Like Brian Kelly had already been coaching at that school for 10 plus years. Like he brought it up, he got a lot out of it, and now he's moving on to the next challenge. Like I see Lincoln Riley just moving out there. I really don't understand.
Do you think Lincoln Riley ducked the competition of the SEC
Yeah.
by making this move, Riley
Because
Burbach?
he could become the powerhouse team of the Pac-12, right? He could become the powerhouse team of the Pac-12. So, like I said, there's a lot of recruiting that he could do right in his backyard in California. And I think that's why he made the decision to go there. But he's got to build the program up.
Yeah. Well, and Burbach, as you know, we've watched college football for many years and are fans of the sport. And when USC is good, that's when college football's at its peak. You know what I mean? I talked about that on the video I put out on Tuesday, kind of my light instant reaction to it. This Lincoln Riley move. And another thing I said in there was you don't really see this too often. You don't see a guy move from A program to A program. Oklahoma's an A program. USC A program, obviously, and you don't normally see these moves. Like you're not going to see a guy like Ryan Burbach go from Ohio State to Georgia, or you're not going to see a guy like Kirby Smart go from Georgia to Michigan, or you know what I mean. You're just not going to see that, and that's why it surprised me. No, and no, I will say I think Lincoln's obviously going to do what's best for him and his family. I just think like when you look at what Lincoln has done over Oklahoma and what he has built over there, I don't see why you leave. I mean, they had one of the most talented rosters in college football this year. Obviously, had a down year, but so did many other great teams. Ohio State, Clemson, all those teams had down years as well. So um, I was surprised by the move. I think Lincoln Riley, yeah, I think he ducked some competition there. He saw the SEC coming up, and he didn't want to deal with Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, and all them boys over there in the Southeastern Conference. And now, Lincoln Riley comes in there, and I really feel like he's only two teams that are really going to be competitive to him are Utah and Oregon, who are playing this weekend in the Pac-12 championship game. But yeah, Burbach, it's a weird move. You don't see this often. I think it's a great fit for USC. I think they're going to get back on the national stage here shortly. Lincoln Riley's got to do a good job of building that program. I will say he's got to build that offensive line first because his offense is predicated on that running game. You saw it a lot at Oklahoma when they had their really good teams. They were able to run the ball really effectively and really well. Um, Burbach, I don't know if you saw, but Brian Kelly. Now we'll move to him. I don't know if you saw his farewell speech, if you will, or farewell press conference.
No.
Only lasted about 10 minutes. Kind of weird to me considering all the time that Brian Kelly has put into over there in that program. I believe you said he was there 11 or 12 years. Um, One, what was your instant reaction to it? And two, does this make LSU a contender now again for a national championship?
Um, I don't know. It depends how good of a recruiter you are, because that's what college football really is. It's who can recruit the best, and Nick Saban's been that guy for how long now? So uh, that's like going back to Lincoln Riley. That's why I said I think part of the reason is recruiting wise, and plus, like you said, uh, you have to go through Bama and Georgia, so that's like two tough teams on the schedule, and you maybe get in with a loss to the college football playoff. So looking at it, he's not exactly the dumbest person for what the decision that he made, because your hardest competition in the Pac-12 is, like you said, Oregon, and they haven't been what they've been in the past. So, but going back to Brian Kelly, sorry. um, I think this move for LSU is good. I mean, they filled a spot open. I mean, Ed is gone now. Rip Ed, but um, I just think that he's had decent recruiting ability at Notre Dame. Even LSU's an even bigger name school. He's getting paid like $10 million a year for the next 12 years. So not a bad decision in my opinion.
No, I don't disagree, Burbach, and I think when people were because people ask or whatever, and I'm in a lot of group chats with a lot of people that talk sports, and college football has been a hot topic over the past week with all the coaching moves, and obviously the Iron Bowl league game happening last week as well. So, um, but yeah, I thought this was a great move for Brian Kelly. I think he really sat down and looked at it and said, "Hey, like I don't think Notre Dame's Brian Kelly's best opportunity to go out there and go win a national championship, which is obviously the goal. Um, Notre Dame's not in a conference, which I think really hurts them. I think that's going to hurt them this weekend, and why they're going to probably be left out of the college football playoff. Um, and yeah, I think LSU again they fill a need and they fill a void with a great coach, a guy that has won at every level he's coached at and has done a really nice job at Notre Dame. Which, by the way, Burbach is not the easiest place to coach because you have all the tradition there, you have all the academic standards that you have to live up to. Now you're going to LSU, which is a little bit lighter on some of those things, where you kind of have the freedom to recruit who and where you want and all that good stuff. So I think this is a great move for Brian Kelly. But Burbach, here's the thing, man. These coaches are getting paid big money, bro. Big money. Big money, Burbach. Like like you talked about, I mean, Lincoln Riley, he goes from Oklahoma, he goes to USC, he gets paid top dollar. Now you talk about Brian Kelly, who goes from Notre Dame to LSU, and these are A to A programs, which is so crazy to me. But Burbach, let me ask you this: Is LSU what are they in the SEC in your opinion? Are they the third best team, the fourth best team? Where would you rank these SEC powerhouses headed into next year? Give me like your top five.
Bama won for sure. Uh, I'll go Georgia, LSU. Um, I, how do you think Oklahoma is going to be? I don't know how they're going to be because they got a lot of people leaving.
Burbach, they're not going to the
Oh,
SEC
shoot.
for a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I sorry. um,
You got A&M, you got Florida, Auburn,
I was gonna
Kentucky.
I was gonna say Auburn, and then probably Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Saying they keep Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, well, Jimbo Fisher is expected to stay there. He wants to stay there, but again, with the way that these moves have kind of went down, I don't really trust anybody's word right now because you heard Lincoln Riley and you heard Brian Kelly say, we're not leaving, we're not going anywhere." So
And then
I really don't know, Burbach.
they dipped
I
out the
think it's
back
going to
door.
be interesting.
Then they dipped out the back door.
Yes. Right, and the crazy thing for me is that these happen so quick, dude. Like, we got wind of it, like, Monday, and then boom, and then we got wind of it Tuesday, and then boom. Like, it was so fast, and honestly, I was texting with Mango, and I'm like, "Hey, man," I'm like, "What are your thoughts on this whole Lincoln Riley to USC thing?" Because he's a big college football guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Had a big weekend for him last weekend, obviously. Um but, I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You don't normally see a Burbach. Stop it right now. Stop it right now." Burbach. Jesus. Um, but yeah, man, and then it was funny because I said, "Hey," I'm like, "Brian Kelly's rumored to be the LSU coach." And he's like, "Is it happening, Dunkel? Like, you're the guy, you're the go-to guy on this stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think it's gonna happen." And sure enough, the next day we got an announcement. So
Yeah.
these things happen very quickly. Since we don't have Alabama super fan quite yet, Jake Mueller, Burbach, let's talk about Oklahoma, man. They got to fill a big void in Lincoln Riley now, and they're losing recruits left and right. Who do you think they sign, man? Who's your go-to guy for the Oklahoma Sooners, aka Boomer Sooner? Is it Coach Bob Stoops, who's serving an interim role? Is it Brent Venables? Is it Dabo Sweeney? Is it Matt Rule? Is it Lane Kiffin? Who is it, Burbach? Who do you like taking the Oklahoma job?
I got Matt Rule getting out of NFL football.
Okay.
He tried with Sam Darnold. It's not really working out so far. Cam Newton ain't work out either. Cam Newton, yeah. I mean, they look good at the beginning of the year against some inferior opponents. I just see him going back to the college football game for a big powerhouse school that he could easily take over and keep him at the top of college football, I think.
I like Matt Rule. I think that's a great pick, but I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Clemson defensive coordinator Brett Venables. Um, this is a guy Burbach that I thought should have been a head coach a couple of years ago. Has decided to stay at Clemson every opportunity he's gotten to become a head coach. I think he takes his job, and I think he does a great job. Brent Venables, one of the toughest dudes I know. He knows how to coach defense. He's going to bring in that toughness, and you're kind of seeing this with the Big 12 now. You saw this with Oklahoma State this year. They're becoming a little bit more defensive minded in that conference.
Mhm.
So I think that'd be a great hire for Oklahoma to keep up with kind of the Big 12 players and Big 12 powerhouses that are